Well, all these people here, they wanted an airstrip for a long, long time. And they've been looking at various sites, and they would haul me off through the jungle and say, how about this and how about that? And I would get all the tape measure out and measure them and angle and approach and all that stuff that I learned from the airstrip construction department at Ukarumpa. But we first made Wapsali, and that took many years, but we finished it. And then once it was finished and open, then they really wanted one here because they figured they got one, so we're going to get one. So one day they came and they said, well, we found a place. And I said, well, let's go measure it. So we came up here and measured it, and sure enough, there's 560 meters from that point to that touchdown. But there was a mountain in the way, and they said, that's okay, well, even if we die doing this, we want our kids at least to be able to come and go. We want a school here, we'll never get a teacher here unless there's an airstrip. And they're right. So, essentially 300 people worked 9 years to make this airstrip. And they moved approximately a third of a million cubic meters of dirt to make this airstrip. Hard, some of it very hard. Wore out 400 or 600 spade heads. Wore them out, wore them completely out. And we had a dozen of these bars that are 1.25 inch steel with chisel point on one end and point on the other. 6 feet long, 1.25 inch. They all ended up about this long. They wore them and countless wheelbarrows. And they designate like 3 days a week for working, and the rest of the days of the week for gardening, and 3 days for working. The men would break off big chunks with the bars, and the women would just pick up the chunks and carry them to the other side and throw them off. Lots of it got done that way. So Verlin Benning, that's Will Benning's father and mother, came in here and lived here for several months and did the lion's share of this work with the tractor and trained Boaz to be a tractor driver. Boaz is a great tractor driver. Trained the other guys on maintaining wheelbarrows, and was flown in here by a RAAF Chinook helicopter, free. It was a community, as was the diesel. And then we had a time when they weren't flying Chinooks anymore, so a Black Hawk brought in the last 20, 44 or 200 liter drums of diesel and put that diesel right up on top of that little hill there. And so that was also a community thing. Hard to imagine how anybody would afford moving anything like that without that kind of help. So the RAAF was really grateful. We lost at that steep place down there where that pit's growing. We lost 5 meters by 50 meters in one landslide that took out the village water supply as well as that. And the people were so discouraged. That month there had been 100 inches of rain that fell here in 1 month. That's 3 inches a day. And people's gardens were going off the hills, and little houses like that were going off the hills. When it would stop raining, so you could actually hear at night, occasionally it would stop. And in the middle of the night, you could just listen, you could hear every 5 minutes you'd hear a landslide somewhere off somewhere. And they'd all start talking in the houses saying, whose garden was that? That was yours. No, it was yours. No, it was yours. The next morning they'd run out and see who lost their garden. Come back and they go, whoa. And they got really discouraged, a lot of sickness, a lot of pneumonia. I ran out of every single kind of medicine I had. Went through all of the couple thousand tablets of broad spectrum antibiotic and malaria tablets. Then I was just using up old injectables that I had that was all outdated. A lot of people had pneumonia. A lot of people got sick, but nobody died in that month.